susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Over the past few years, My City, My SM series has showcased different facets of Calamba,'s rich culture, its tourist attractions, its cuisines, and most recently, its artisan crafts. Today, our cultural journey will take us to another exciting route where we will explore and discover Calamba,'s and the country's top visual artists in this special episode of My City, My SM, My Art at SM City, Calamba.
With magical Mount Makiling,
scenic Laguna de Bai, lush trees and gardens, and hot spring resorts providing the perfect backdrop, Calamba as well as the rest of Laguna province has been a source of inspiration for many artists. The establishment of the National Arts Center's Philippine High School for the Arts in nearby Los Baños in 1977 has further led the way for the training of a generation of artists, which we will discover today as My City, My SM, My Art makes a stop at SM City, Calamba. A joint project of SM, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, Shell Philippines, the Philippine Star, with support from the National Commission for Culture and the Arts and Center Stage Productions, My City, My SM, My Art is a celebration of the Philippine visual arts, painting, sculpture, printmaking, photography, and filmmaking. We're bringing art and people together by showcasing the works of masters, modernists, and millennials in a roadshow around the SM supermalls. Advocating art for all, we're working with the communities to mount exhibits, workshops, and contests in key cities around the Philippines. Aside from the National Arts Center and the Philippine High School for the Arts, Los Baños is also home to local and international research centers. One of these is the International Rice Research Institute. IRI is the world's premier research organization dedicated to reduce poverty and hunger through rice science. The IRI headquarters house the Rice World Museum and Learning Center, IRI's Rice and Rice Research Awareness Facility for the general public. As the curator of the Rice World Museum, Paul Hilario designs and organizes institute exhibitions within and outside IRI. Paul is also a visual artist whose works have found their way to collectors in Australia, Canada, Dubai, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Europe, Singapore, and the United States.
Ako si Paul Hilario na nakatira sa Los Baños, Laguna. Nagtatrabaho ako sa IRI. Ako ang curator ng IRI Rice World Museum and Learning Center. Mula nung bata pa lang ako, mahilig na talaga ako mag-drawing. 4 years old pa lang, binibigyan ako ng papel ng tatay ko, scratch paper kasi writer-editor siya. Nagdo-drawing ako lahat na makikita ko sa TV. Do-drawing ko yan, dinosaur, kotse, basta kung ano lang ang makita ko, i-drawing ko yun. And I try to make the painting a little more naive kasi ayoko yung realism eh. Hindi ko masyado type mag-paint ng realism. Although yun din yung style ko nung bata pa ako, ngayon gusto ko lagyan ng sarili kong interpretasyon yung mga katawan ng tao pagka sila pinipinta ko at dinodrawing ko.
The art of Paul Hilario, which can be described as figurative expressionism, tries to create and recreate stories with themes that range from the blissful to the brooding and spices up the entire composition with common and personal symbolism. His method uses a modified Byzantine-era painting technique that helps create layers of colors developed through multiple glazing. Shadow colors are richer, hard and soft edges have increased contrast, which created a sense of melodic feel to the painting.
Hindi rin naman kasi ako aral sa history of the arts, pero I think it is part of the sa European na tradition ng mga styles ng pagpipinta. Loosely siguro pwede mo siyang tawagin na figurative expressionism Yung pagpipinta ko kasi, ginagawa ko siya para siyang, ang matatawag siya na visual narrative. Yung painting, meron siyang storya. Also, sa unang mong tingin, hindi mo siya mababasa basta-bastang ganun eh. Kailangan mo tingnan yung bawat elemento sa loob ng pyesa, saka mo mabubuo yung storya mo. Ngayon yung storya, pwede namang yung story na pagkakabasa mo, iba sa pagkakabasa ko. Kasi nga ako may gumawa, pero meron akong personal interpretation sa halos lahat ng ginagawa ko. Gusto ko kasi yung painting na nagsasalita ba, may sinasabi, may kahulugan. I prefer acrylic over oil kasi I work in layers, maraming layers. Yung mga yung painting ko, umaabot yan hanggang 20 layers if necessary. Kasi yung traditional yung way ko eh, nagsisimula ako sa isang layer ng kulay. Yung tatatandaan nyo yung printing process before, may cyan ka, may magenta, may yellow ka, tapos may black and gray. Nagsisimula muna ako sa green actually, neutral na green, tapos papatungan ko siya ng iba't ibang kulay para makuha ko yung final colors ko. Para nagkakaroon ngayon yung pyesa, kung titingnan nyo, hindi siya sharp eh. May mga blurred edges dyan na makikita mo sa mga sides. Kasi yun yung mga parte na nagpatong-patong ng pintura, kaya nag-blur na siya. Sa akin lang, okay na sa akin yung may maiwan ako eh. Kasi yun naman ng isang goal ng mga artist eh, na dumaan tayo, mabuhay tayo, tapos kung mawala tayo, at least may matandaan man tayo na dumaan tayo sa buhay na to. Makikita yung obra mo, nandun ang pangalan mo. Siguro sa akin, okay na yun. At kung nakatulong man yung obra na yun na pagandahin yung bahay, pasayahin, or mamulat yung isipan nung nakakita ng painting at na-appreciate yon, sa akin okay na sa akin yon bilang pintor.
We will get to meet another young artist who is also a graphic designer when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Situated along DL Umali Freedom Park in UPLB is the Ginhawa Craft Studio, where one can find the beautiful artworks of Yvette Co. Since she was 8, Yvette was raised around graphic designers and was exposed to the founders of Saling Pusa, an art group based in UP Diliman. She enrolled in several workshops conducted by art master Fernando Sena and later on studied interior design as a course in UP Diliman. She also took classes in color theory and principles of design in the Philippine School of Interior Design. Her works are figurative and created in relief using mixed media.
I'm Yvette Co. I'm an artist and I'm a sculptor and painter. I live here in Los Baños, where there's a lot of nature to see and also a lot of excess materials that I get inspired to use for my artworks. I started because my parents recognized my hilig for doing detailed things like creating cards or creating paintings. I was so fortunate to be exposed to the early members of Saling Pusa from UP. So I'm a believer that artists are made because I didn't start out as the pinakamagaling mag-drawing sa batch type. I learned a few doodles from my brother and I practiced a lot and I became competitive to be better than this girl, kasi po all-girls school.
In 2011, she was commissioned by ASEAN Center for Biodiversity and German International Cooperation to design and execute an exhibit for the UN Biodiversity Conference in India. The artwork was entitled Mother Nature in the Mangrove Garden, a 25 square meter diorama about the degeneration of the mangrove forest. Yvette specializes in creating branding and infographics and enjoy working and collaborating with the craftsmen in the Laguna outskirts. To date, she continues to do commissioned works for the community, engages in workshops in painting and sculpture, and doubles in environmental art.
The Yvette Co trademark would be soft lines. That's the first thing that I think of. Yeah. I use oil paint and metal. I love twisting metal. The greatest achievement always is, aside from putting up this cafe. It's Tanay, yun the 16-foot tree. So the College of Forestry collaborated with me to work on a 400-year-old dead tree in Tanay, in Parokya de Tanay. Me and a team of 12 people from Paete. So we were commissioned to design and work on that piece for 2 months, roughly 2 months po. So it's there now. We're happy. It's become a tourist spot there in Tanay, Rizal. The artwork, we called it Pamana sa Tanay. Hane. Yun yung expression na dun, hane. I want to be remembered as an artist, being a good collaborator. Yun. Being very generous with my talents, tapos also taking care of every output.
We'll get to know more of Los Baños visual artists as we get to know more about a well-known sculptor when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Tito Sanchez is one of the country's most prolific and respected sculptors today. His works capture the sweeping movement and the grace of human form, which is evident in his life-size statues. Tito graduated cum laude from the UP College of Fine Arts and went on to apprentice with Napoleon Abueva and Anastasio Caedo, from whom he learned the methods of molding pieces of metal into sculptural figures.
Ako po si Tito Sanchez, graduate ng UP College of Fine Arts. Matagal ako kay Abueva, tagal din ako kay Caedo. Hanggang sa hindi ko namalayan na adapt ko pala yung mga nalalaman nila. Lumalabas sa trabaho ko ngayon. Tapos yun, yung na-expose ako hanggang sa nalaman ko na sarili ko na mas mahilig ako sa sculpture pala kaysa sa painting. Ang inspirasyon ko, yung mga anak ko na sila ang nagbigay ng lakas loob sa akin at saka ipagpatuloy ko ang aking karir maging artist. Kasi ang competition, mahirap Kung di mabubuhay ang anak mo, kung talagang hindi ka marunong, magaling. Kaya sinikap ko maging magaling dahil sa kanila.
His works are recognized here and abroad, and he won first prize in the Indian Painting Competition in Los Angeles, California. During the 1984 Annual Art Competition of the Arts Association of the Philippines, he won the grand prize for sculpture of prominent personalities.
Ang gumawa ng mukha, hindi basta-basta rin. Merong i-inject dyan na kung ano yung personality niya. Ilalabas yung karakter ng tao sa ginagawa ko.
One of his masterpieces is the Gomburza, a bronze sculpture of the 3 Filipino priest martyrs, Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, found outside the parish of the Holy Sacrifice in UP Diliman. Its bronze material emphasizes the flowing lines from the elongated figures and their flowing robes and captures the moment before their execution.
National artist, ako hindi ko kahit minsan pinangarap. Niwala ako kung ibibigay ng Diyos sa iyo, talaga ibibigay. Pagdating ng araw na wala na ako, gawin ko muna yung monument ko. Alam ko, Diyos naman nagbigay niya lahat Gamitin mo sa mabuti, balik mo sa Kanya yung mga binigay sa iyong talento. Yun ang pinakamasayang maalala.
We'll meet another young Lagunense visual artist who's been creating a lot of excitement in the local and international scene when My City, My SM, My Art returns. The art of Benjamin Cruz is in the category of abstract realism, the blend of two opposing styles of art. In the visual arts, realism is the precise, detailed, and accurate representation of the visual appearance of scenes in objects, drawn in photographic precision. Abstract art, on the other hand, has no reference to the real object and is only concerned with the colors, lines, shapes, and rhythms that create the artwork. Ben Cruz is an artist influenced by the landscapes around him that goes way beyond realism. He transforms his pieces to new heights by manipulating dimensions. A multi-awarded visual artist in the Philippines and Singapore, Ben completed the Fine Arts in Advertising degree from the University of Santo Tomas. His works have won numerous awards, including the coveted Painting of the Year in the 2015 UOB Painting of the Year competition and the grand prize in the representational category of the 2015 GSIS 11th Annual Art Competition. Calambeños are indeed very creative and talented. We will now visit the haven for young and aspiring artists when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Legend has it that the contour of Mount Makiling is like the profile of a sleeping Mariang Makiling, a legendary goddess, who, according to folklore, is the guardian spirit of the mountain, responsible for protecting its bounty, and thus is also a benefactor for the townspeople who depend on the mountain's resources. But the mystical mountain, which rises 1,109 meters above sea level, is also legendary because of its breathtaking beauty. The lower slope is a dipterocarp forest, while the summit is a dwarf mossy forest with a total of 2,048 different species of plants, making it a popular nature-tripping destination, trekking, bird and butterfly watching, and even camping. Amidst the legendary beauty of Mount Makiling nestles the National Art Center, a sanctuary for young and aspiring Filipino artists. Established in 1976, the NAC plays a pivotal role in the cultural upliftment of the nation through the development of young talents. Scattered over the NAC complex are various facilities, one of which is the Philippine High School for the Arts, a government-run secondary educational institution for artistically gifted young Filipino artists. It is committed to the conservation and promotion of the Filipino artistic and cultural traditions.
Hi, I'm Jerry Leonardo. I'm a visual arts teacher. I'm an alumnus of this school and I started at a very young age. I'm originally from Davao City. That was in 1978 when I first came up here. And since then, I literally haven't left the place.
Since it opened in 1977, PHSA has strived to develop the expertise and potential of its artist scholars, faculty, and staff, with opportunities for cultural appreciation that will contribute to their development as artists for others.
Well, PHSA was introduced to me by a music teacher. Well, coming all the way from Davao City to parang, wow, magical place, no? Wonderful place. Maganda na introduce ng maraming teachers, no? There was what we call a democratization in teaching. Yung mga teachers namin dito, they're really graduates of studio arts. Kaya ang pasok nila dito is they're artists. But now somehow our artists have become art teachers, and with more training and exposure to what has been happening here, we have become art education teachers. And with consecutive, additional trainings, we could be the next generation of cultural education teachers. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. We'll give you security. The institution will provide you the food, will provide you the nice chair on the table. Let the idea blossom. It is owned by you. We may have been part of it, but we will never really own it. It is yours, and so there is no discipleship. The pedagogy is very clear. that we will allow each one of you, that we will allow each one of you to celebrate the individual image in each one of you.
The creative works of this young artist is a celebration of the past and present views of their generation, adding not only value to our lives, but helping us appreciate the future. One of these is PHSA alumnus Mark Cosico, who we will meet when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Mark Vincent Cosico is a visual artist and an educator. He has been an artist in residence in South Korea and Scotland and has exhibited his works here and abroad, representing the country in international arts festival. As an artist, he is proficient in oil, acrylic, and watercolor paintings, pen and ink drawings and illustrations, as well as mixed media and sculptural works. As an educator, he has been a visual arts teacher at the Philippine High School for the Arts since 2006.
Hi, I'm Mark Vincent Cosico. I am from San Pablo City, now living in Santa Rosa City, working in Los Baños, Laguna, sa Philippine High School for the Art. I started as an artist professionally around 2000 after college.
His works vary from a custom Kaleso wheelchair, a 12-inch sculpture of Andres Bonifacio, to an altar assemblage. His talent as a visual artist and graphic designer have brought him numerous awards, including the Grand Prize in the Sculpture category of the Metrobank Art and Excellence Awards in 2010.
Ang nakuha ko sa mga mentors namin is inspiration daw is a joke. If you want art to be a profession, do not wait for inspiration to manifest. Kasi inspiration can come in different times of your life. Pwedeng later on in life pa dumating yan. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ka makakagawa nun. Combining both ideas, reality and fiction, gives us a different dimension on how we can perceive the life siguro. And dun nang gagaling yung motivation mo to create and to influence others by showing your works with messages that affected you. Yung susunod na pinabala kong exhibit, yung gusto kong maging marka. Yung tinawag kong siyang binalot technique. Kasi ang basic technique lang nun is balutin mo. So binalot. So yun yung dinedevelop ko ngayon na technique kasi ang form na ginagamit ko ngayon ay yung mga discarded na laruan, action figures kung tawagin. So halimbawa, G.I. Joe na babalutin ko ng epoxy, gagawin ko siyang panibagong tao na merong pakpak halimbawa. Yan. It becomes an idea na na yung technique is basically binalot ko lang yung figure pero meron akong hiwalay na na gustong sabihin. What sets me apart now is probably dependent on the viewer or a critic na magsasabi ng differences namin yan. Kasi ang dami ng artist talaga ngayon, baka nagkakapare-pareho na kami. Having been influenced by technology and media na sobrang popular art forms, yung mga paintings and sculptures na ginagawa ko are reactions to them na nais kong maalala bilang isang mabuting asawa, mabuting ama, mapag-arugang guro sa aking mga estudyante, siguro mahusay na artist ng Pilipinas.
We'll meet another young Lagunense visual artist who's been creating a lot of excitement in the local and international scene when My City, My SM, My Art returns. From the windows of the Rizal Shrine, one can view a Calamba landmark. Erected in the city plaza is a giant 12-meter-high clay pot engraved with the names of the city's barangays on its surface, known as Calamba. Early settlers claimed that Calamba's name stemmed from the words kalan and banga, meaning clay stove and water jar. The high-grade clay in Calamba's lakeshore has made pottery a source of livelihood for many of its residents. It was because of the city's symbol that John Pettyjohn and his wife Tessie chose to live in Calamba and continue to shape art from clay. John Pettyjohn is of Filipino-American descent and has spent many years in the Philippines experimenting with and learning about and sometimes teaching pottery. He learned his craft from Barcelona, Spain, where he started out as an apprentice at a small studio. An artist who works with the elements of fire and clay, creating pots is his passion. His work in traditional functional pottery is in one-of-a-kind or extremely limited editions. Tessie San Juan holds a degree of Bachelor of Fine Arts in Painting from the University of the Philippines. She also studied ceramic art and interior design and later taught pottery and art. And it was one of his solo exhibits that Tessie and John met. And their passion for the art of pottery making has kept them together since.
Yes, I studied fine arts in the University of the Philippines, majoring in painting. And on my third year, a ceramic teacher came. He started teaching ceramics, and I took it as part of my, just an extra course. And I really liked it.
When I was in my early 20s, I visited my cousin who was living in Barcelona at that time. And there just happens to be a very good art school with a very good ceramic department in Barcelona. So I went one day to visit just to see it. And I was able to go inside the school, and I walked into the ceramic workshop, and I saw a lot of young people my age working with their hands. And it just hit me like the lightning bolt. I just said, this is something I really would like to do. And by the grace of God, I was able to enroll in that school, and I studied for a few years. Later, I apprenticed before I came back to the Philippines.
The Pettyjohns belong to a generation of artist potters who are reviving the traditional methods of pottery making, fusing them with contemporary styles of Asian and Western ceramics. From mostly gas-fired stoneware and porcelain, the Pettyjohns are now experimenting with wood and salt firing.
For me, I feel a great connection to the potters and the clay artists from the past. You know, we're lucky in ceramics is that we get to see the works of people thousands of years ago because ceramics is preserved so well. So I feel a real connection to all the potters and artists who came before me. And I would like to continue the tradition and also to try to add something of my own, so to be part of that ancient chain. I guess that's part of my inspiration.
Inspired by nature, I started working with, doing sculptural type things, corals, cactus, whatever I see around.
It's like music. You have to do the technique, and you have to learn the scales. There are techniques and craftsmanship that you have to learn. The basics, it takes a little bit of discipline, but once you learn that, you try to forget it and feel free to do whatever. But we do try to come up with concepts, and we do some sketching sometimes, more often than not. But of course, sometimes it's good just to improvise also. When you start working on something, it may be a month or 6 weeks before you see the end. So it's always just anticipating, what is this going to, what color is this going to be? And potters often get depressed when the work is finished. That's the end, it's finished, so what do we do now? Have to start again. Yeah, clay is one of the most sensitive materials. We taught for a long time, and because of that, we can look at someone's work, and you can feel what this person, what they're like in a way. Because clay, it's very soft, and it picks up the slightest. You can see the way people handle the clay. Whether it's very gentle or very coarse or.
We've worked all our life doing pottery. I guess that's how we should be remembered.
Yeah, we worked hard. we try to help and encourage the young ones, the other ones, as much as possible.
Yeah.
We've been working now for more than 40 years, but there's no sense of, mastery. We don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, there's so much things to discover and
So many things to learn. Yes, sir. It cannot be mastered in one lifetime. So
we share it also as much as possible.
Yeah, we share a lot of
Sometimes artists and craftsmen keep things secret. We dealt with that when we were young. It was an issue because there were very few of us, and we had to decide if we were going to teach. Are we just going to open up and tell them everything? It was kind of difficult in the beginning, but it wasn't very long before we realized that, it's such a cliche, but the more you give, the more that comes back to you. It's so true. Keeping secrets is the worst thing.
This afternoon's episode has given us the opportunity to learn more and celebrate the works not only of Calambas but of Laguna's very talented visual artists. On behalf of SM, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, NCCA, Shell Philippines, Center Stage Production, and the Philippine Star, we wish to thank John and Tessie Pettijohn, Ben Cruz, Philippine High School for the Arts, Mark Cosico, Paul Hilario, Yvette Co, and Tito Sanchez for sharing their amazing talents. Again, this is Vim Nadera thanking you for joining me in this wonderful journey. We hope to see you again as we make a stop at SM City Dasmariñas for another episode of My City, My SM, My Art.